Rafah erupts. 4 elite Israeli officers killed in a single blast. At the border, a Jordanian driver turns aid into massacre. 2 more Israelis killed. And in Gaza's ruins, a former PA officer declares, "People don't want Hamas." Is Israel losing soldiers, even as Hamas begins to lose Gaza? A roadside bomb tore through an Israeli convoy in southern Gaza's Rafah, marking one of the deadliest days for Israeli forces in weeks. 4 soldiers from the elite Bahad 1 officers' school were killed instantly when their Humvee struck an explosive device in the Janina neighborhood at 9:30 on September 18th. The victims were identified as Major Omri Kai Ben Moshe from Zafria, who served as a company commander. 3 officer cadets posthumously promoted to lieutenant also perished. Lieutenant Aaron Shelem from Ramat Yohanan, Lieutenant Eitan Avner Ben Itzhak from Har Bracha, and Lieutenant Ron Arieli from Hadera. These weren't ordinary soldiers. Before joining the officers' course, Ben Moshe commanded in the paratroopers brigade. Shalem served in the elite Sayeret Matkal unit. Ben Itzhak was with the commando brigade, and Arieli fought with the Golani brigade. The attack unfolded as a D9 armoured bulldozer cleared a route with 2 Humvees following behind. When one vehicle moved to the roadside, the explosion struck with devastating force, wounding 3 additional soldiers. Military investigators are still determining what type of explosive was used and when it was planted. IDF spokesman Brigadier General Effie Defrin addressed the nation Thursday evening, stating that
the fighters of Brigade 261 fight bravely throughout the war. There are painful moments for all of us. The fighters were injured as a result of an explosive device exploded during an offensive operation at Al-Janina neighborhood in Rafah. The forces are working at Al-Janina neighborhood to eliminate terrorism.
This deadly incident brings Israel's ground offensive death toll to 469 soldiers, including police officers and civilian contractors. The timing is particularly significant as Israeli forces launched a major offensive in Gaza City earlier this week. IDF Chief of Staff Lieutenant General Ehial Zamir declared that,
"Our aim is to deepen the blows to Hamas until its defeat. We have defeated the main part of its military power, and now we are deepening the achievements that will allow us to bring the end of the war closer."
The same Thursday that brought tragedy in Rafah saw violence erupt at the Allenby Crossing between the West Bank and Jordan. A 57-year-old Jordanian truck driver named Abd al-Muttalib al-Qaisi transformed what should have been a humanitarian mission into a deadly attack. Al-Qaisi arrived at the crossing around 3 p.m, driving a truck loaded with aid destined for Gaza. Before security could inspect his vehicle, he opened fire with a handgun on soldiers at the checkpoint. When his weapon jammed, he grabbed a knife and repeatedly stabbed 2 Israeli soldiers until security guards shot him dead. The victims were Lieutenant Colonel Yitzhak Harosh, 68, a reservist with the civil administration from Jerusalem, and Sergeant Oren Hershko, 20, a liaison officer with foreign forces from Tel Mond. The attack prompted troops to briefly encircle the nearby West Bank town of Jericho while searching for additional suspects. Israel's foreign ministry responded with unusually harsh language, stating,
"Israel facilitates humanitarian aid to Gaza, and the terrorists exploit it to murder Israelis." A Jordanian who was supposed to drive a humanitarian aid truck to Gaza murdered 2 Israelis at the Allenby border crossing. This is yet another result of the vile incitement in Jordan. This is the result of the echoing of Hamas's campaign of lies.
Jordan's response was markedly different. Government spokesman Mohammed al-Momani said Jordan was monitoring the incident, while the foreign ministry later announced that security services had launched an investigation.
We condemn the attack as a violation of international law, Jordan's interests, and its ability to deliver humanitarian aid to the Gaza Strip.
Al-Qaisi had only been working as an aid truck driver for 3 months. the attack's immediate consequence extends beyond the 2 lives lost. An Israeli security source told Khan Younis that aid delivery schedules would be disrupted. IDF Chief of Staff Zamir recommended halting Gaza-bound aid through Allenby Crossing until investigations conclude and inspection procedures are updated. Since October 2023, nearly 10,000 trucks carrying over 144,000 tons of aid have crossed from Jordan, representing 7% of all Gaza deliveries. In Khan Younis, a former Palestinian Authority security officer is attempting something unprecedented. 50-year-old Hossam al-Astal claims to have established an alternative to Hamas rule around the village of Kizan al-Najjar, just south of Khan Younis. Al-Astal tells the Times of Israel that his group will accept whoever lives under Hamas's oppression, promising adequate food, water, and shelter.
In the coming days, we will bring in another 400 people.
Al-Astal added that his group conducts security screenings to ensure newcomers have no Hamas connections. Comparing his efforts to those of Yasser Abu Shabab, whose armed group has established security structures and civilian infrastructure in Israeli-controlled parts of Rafah, al-Astal declared,
"I am responsible for the humanitarian zone in Khan Younis."
The 2 men coordinate but operate independently. Al-Astal's background adds credibility to his claims. From a Bedouin family in the Khan Younis area, he worked in Israel for years before joining the PA security forces when they controlled Gaza. Hamas imprisoned him multiple times, and Hamas-linked social media now accuses him of collaborating with Israel. He acknowledges coordination with Israel, saying,
"Soon we will rely on Israel to bring us electricity and water."
His group possesses weapons for self-defense and receives funding from the United States, Europe, and unspecified Arab states. Al-Astal's most striking assertion challenges Hamas's narrative entirely.
People here don't want Hamas. They want peace with Israel. I'm 50 years old. I remember when the army and Israel were in Gaza and we lived in peace. Children played, children went to school, and there were no problems. But today, Hamas's terror has destroyed Gaza and its people.
These developments suggest fractures in Hamas control may be widening as Israel's military pressure intensifies. With over 65,000 Palestinians reported killed, according to Hamas health authorities, and Israel claiming to have eliminated over 22,000 combatants, the war that began with Hamas's October 7th attack continues reshaping Gaza's future in unexpected ways.